The silent scream, the quantum radio array at Deep Space Station Alpha 7 had been quiet for 3 months. Communications Officer Elena Vasquez adjusted her headset and sipped cold coffee while monitoring the endless static from the void. She had been stationed at the edge of human space for 2 years, listening for any signs of intelligent life beyond Earth's borders. Most days brought nothing but cosmic background, radiation, and the occasional burst from dying stars. Alana rubbed her tired eyes and glanced at the chronometer. Her shift would end in 4 hours, and she was already planning to catch up on sleep, when something changed in the static. A pattern emerged from the noise, subtle, but definitely artificial. Her heart rate quickened as she fine-tuned the receivers. "Commander Chun to the communication center, please," she announced over the stations. "Intercom system." Her voice carried an urgency that hadn't been heard in months. Commander Marcus Chun arrived within minutes, still fastening his uniform jacket. He was a veteran of the Mars colonial wars, with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Behind him came Dr. Sarah Kim, the station's xenolinguist, and Chief Engineer Tom Walsh, a bear of a man with gentle hands that could fix anything. "What do you have, Alana?" Commander Chun asked, moving to look over her shoulder at the scrolling data streams. "It's encrypted, sir, but not with any human algorithm I've seen. The signal is coming from the Kepler 442 system, approximately 1,200 light-years away." Elena's fingers danced across her control panel, isolating the signal from background interference. "Dr. Kim, I think this might be what we've been waiting for." Dr. Kim's eyes widened as she studied the patterns. She had spent her entire career preparing for this moment, developing translation protocols for theoretical alien languages. "Run it through the quantum linguistic matrix," she instructed. "If this is genuine xenocommunication, we'll need every processing core we have." Tom Walsh was already routing additional computing power to their systems. "I'm giving you everything we've got, Doc. If there's a message in there, we'll find it." For the next 6 hours, the team worked without rest. Slowly, the alien encryption began to yield to human ingenuity and determination. Dr. Kim's translation. Algorithms started producing fragments of meaning, and what they revealed made everyone's blood run cold. The first coherent sentence came through at Onda. 347 hours. Our children sing no more. "Dear God," Elena whispered, her hand covering her mouth. "Commander, I think this is a distress call." More fragments followed, each one painting a darker picture. The beings called themselves the Valfani, a crystalline species that have evolved on a world of singing crystals and flowing energy. They described themselves as peaceful, spending their millennia creating beautiful harmonic structures and exploring the mysteries of quantum consciousness. Dr. Kim's voice shook as she read the translated messages aloud. "They're describing something called the Devourers, entities that consume life energy directly from living beings. The Valfani homeworld is under attack, and they're being harvested like crops." Commander Chun stood perfectly still, his military training warring with human compassion. "How many of them are there?" "According to this," Elena said, checking her readings, "their population was approximately 800 million before the attack began. But these messages are getting weaker. We're receiving fewer signals each day." Tom Walsh had gone pale. "Commander, my daughter is about the age these alien children would be. If someone was doing this to human kids—" "I understand, Tom," Chun replied quietly. "But we need to think this through. We're talking about a journey of over 1,000 light years. Even with our fastest ships, it would take months to reach them." Dr. Kim had been working on another transmission, this one longer and more complex. "Commander, you need to hear this. It's from someone called Queen Zixara. She appears to be their leader." The translated message filled the room with an alien voice that somehow conveyed desperate hope despite the mechanical translation. To any beings who might receive this transmission, we are the Valthani of the third moon of Kepler 442b. For 10,000 rotations of our world, we have lived in harmony with the crystal forests and the singing winds. We have never raised weapons against any living thing. We communicate through resonance and create art from pure thought energy. But now the devourers have come to our system. They are beings of endless hunger who consume the life force of entire civilizations. They do not kill quickly. They harvest us slowly, keeping us alive while they drain our essence over many cycles. Our scientists estimate that our species has perhaps 50 rotations before we are extinct. We do not ask for warriors to fight our battles, for we know nothing of war. We ask only that someone, somewhere, might remember that we existed. We tried to be good. We never harmed anyone. We only wanted to create beauty and explore the wonders of existence. If there are beings in the universe who value life, who protect the innocent, who stand against darkness, please know that we believed such beings existed even as we die. Our children still dream of meeting kind aliens among the stars, even though the stars now bring only death. This may be our final transmission. The devourers have found our underground cities. But we send this message with hope that somewhere, someone cares about the fate of strangers. The communication center fell silent except for the hum of machinery. Elena was crying openly. Tom Walsh had his face in his hands. Dr. Kim stared at her translation screen as if she could somehow change what it said. Commander Chun walked to the observation window and looked out at the stars. Elena, send a priority flash message to Earth. Command, include all the translations and our technical analysis. Mark it for immediate attention of the United Earth Council. Sir, Tom asked, what do we tell them? We tell them that humanity just learned we're not alone in the universe, and that our new neighbors are being murdered while we debate what to do about it. The message reached Earth in 18 hours. President Anna Kowalski convened an emergency session of the United Earth Council within minutes of receiving the transmission. The council chamber, usually a place of careful diplomatic language and measured debates, erupted in barely controlled emotion as the alien distress calls were played. Defense Secretary Robert Martinez stood at the podium, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what he was proposing. The Valthani system is 1,200 light-years away. With our newest quantum drive technology, we could reach them in approximately 4 months. But we would need every available ship in the fleet. And what exactly would we be flying into? Asked Counselor Jane Thompson from the European Federation. We know nothing about these devourers. They could have technology far beyond ours. Admiral Isabella Rodriguez, the fleet commander, had been studying the technical data all morning. From what we can determine from their communications, the devourers rely on harvesting biological energy rather than conventional technology. They appear to be parasitic rather than technologically advanced. Our ships might have advantages they've never encountered. President Kowalski listened to the debates but kept returning to one particular transmission they had intercepted just hours earlier. A young Valthani named Hickson had managed to send a brief message from a hiding place deep underground. I am afraid, but I am not angry. The Crystal Elders taught us that anger poisons the harmony. I just want the singing to come back to our world. I want to see the sky without the shadow ships. If anyone hears this, please remember that we love the stars. The question before us, President Kowalski said, rising from her chair, is not whether we can save them. The question is whether we can live with ourselves if we don't try. Counselor David Chun from the Asian Alliance raised a practical concern. Madam President, if we commit our entire fleet to this mission and fail, Earth could be left defenseless. We don't know what other threats exist in the galaxy. Then we better not fail, the President replied. Admiral Rodriguez, how quickly? Can you mobilize the fleet? If we leave within 72 hours, we can reach the Valfani system before their final cities fall. But Madam President, this isn't just a military mission. This is humanity announcing itself to the galaxy. Whatever we do out there will define who we are as a species. The vote was unanimous. Within 48 hours, the largest fleet in human history was assembled. 300 ships carrying the best and bravest that humanity had to offer. Scientists, engineers, doctors, and soldiers united by a single purpose: to save people they had never met from horrors they could barely imagine. As the fleet prepared to depart, messages poured in from across Earth. Children drew pictures of humans and aliens holding hands. Artists composed songs about hope reaching across the void. Engineers worked around the clock to outfit the ships with everything they might need. Asterisk. Captain Lisa Santos, commander of the fighter squadron Righteous Fury, addressed her pilots before departure. We're going to face something that has terrorized a peaceful civilization for months. They chose the Valfani because they thought no one would fight back. They were wrong. Today, they meet humanity. A journey began with quantum drives powering up across the fleet. As the ships entered faster-than-light travel, Elena Vasquez sent one final message toward the Valfani. System, hold on. Help is coming. You are not alone. But even as the human fleet raced through space, the alien signals were growing weaker. Time was running out, and every day of travel meant thousands more Valfani lives lost to the Devourer's harvest. In the depths of space, an alien queen waited in darkness, still believing that somewhere among the stars there were beings who cared about the fate of strangers. She was about to discover that humans were exactly those beings. Asterisk. When humanity roars 4 months later, the human fleet emerged from quantum space at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. What they found was a vision of hell among the stars. Massive ships, each the size of a small moon, hung in orbit around the once beautiful crystal world of Velfin Prime. The alien vessels were organic in appearance, pulsing with sickly bioluminescent patterns. Thousands of smaller craft swarmed between them like insects, each one carrying its cargo of suffering back to the harvest ship's. Commander Chun stood on the bridge of the flagship UEC's Defiance, his jaw clenched as the long-range sensors revealed the scope of the horror. Admiral Rodriguez, are you seeing this? I see it, Marcus. The whole planet's crystal matrix is dark. They're draining the life from the world itself. Admiral Rodriguez's voice carried a cold fury that her officers had never heard before. Captain Santos, get your fighters ready for immediate launch. We're going in hard and fast. Dr. Kim was monitoring communications from the surface. Admiral, I'm detecting approximately 50,000 Valfani life signs remaining. They're concentrated in deep underground shelters. But the energy readings. These devourer ships are using the entire population as a living battery farm. Tom Walsh was analyzing the enemy vessels from his position in engineering. Admiral, their ships are purely biological. No metal components, no conventional energy sources. They're like massive parasites that have evolved to consume civilizations. Then they've never faced anything like us, Admiral Rodriguez replied. All ships, this is Admiral Rodriguez. We are engaging immediately. Priority is the rescue of survivors, but any devourer vessel that fires on us is to be considered hostile and destroyed without mercy. The human fleet split into tactical formations that the devourers had never encountered. These weren't the panicked, peaceful vessels of previous civilizations. These were warships designed by a species that had spent millennia perfecting the art of warfare. Captain Santos led her fighter squadron toward the nearest harvest ship. Phoenix Squadron, remember your mission priorities. Disable the harvesting systems, locate prisoner holds, and create an exit corridor for rescue operations. These things have been bullying defenseless civilizations. Let's see how they handle a real fight. The Devourers' first response was their standard intimidation tactic. The massive harvest ships began broadcasting psychic terror waves designed to paralyze their victims with fear. It had worked on every species they had encountered for millennia. It didn't work on humans. Is that supposed to scare us? Lieutenant Mike Taylor laughed over the squadron channel as his fighter dove toward a Devourer vessel's harvesting array. I grew up in Detroit. This is nothing. The human attack was unlike anything the Devourers had ever experienced. Instead of fleeing or surrendering, these strange new beings fought with a coordination and ferocity that caught the parasitic aliens completely off guard. Dr. Kim made a breakthrough that changed everything. Admiral, I've found their weakness. Their ships are essentially one massive organism. If we can disrupt their bioelectrical nervous system, we can paralyze entire vessels without killing the prisoners aboard. Tom, can we modify our EMP weapons for biological targets? Give me 10 minutes, Tom replied, his fingers flying over engineering controls. If these things run on bioelectricity, I can scramble their systems like a bad neural network. While Tom worked his engineering magic, the fighter squadrons were creating chaos among the Devourer fleet. The parasitic aliens had grown complacent after millions of years of easy conquest. Their ships were designed to harvest, not to fight against. Determined resistance. Captain Santos targeted the neural clusters that Dr. Kim had identified. Phoenix leader to all squadrons, aim for the pulsing nodes on their hulls. Those are their brain centers. Knock those out, and the whole ship goes down. The tide of battle turned when Tom's modified EMP weapons came online. The first biological, electromagnetic pulse hit a harvest ship, and the effect was immediate. The massive vessel convulsed as its nervous system overloaded, then went completely limp in space. It worked. Tom shouted over the fleet communication system. The prisoners are alive, but the ship is paralyzed. We can board it now. Admiral Rodriguez smiled grimly. All ships, begin rescue operations. Let's bring these people home. The boarding operations revealed the true horror of what the Devourers had been doing. Human Marines found thousands of Valthani connected to biomechanical systems that slowly drained their life energy while keeping them conscious and aware. The crystalline aliens had been tortured for months, their natural harmony disrupted by pain, fear, and despair. Marine Sergeant Rebecca Foster led the rescue team that found Queen Zixara. The Valthani leader was barely conscious, her crystal body dim and cracked from the harvesting process. But when she saw the humans, her eyes brightened with something that had been lost for months: hope. You came, Queen Zixara whispered through the translation device Dr. Kim had developed. We sent our message to the void, not knowing if anyone would hear. You crossed the darkness between worlds to help strangers. That's what humans do, Sergeant Foster replied gently, carefully disconnecting the harvesting cables. We don't abandon people who need help. You're safe now. The rescue operations continued for 18 hours. Ship after ship was disabled, boarded, and cleared of survivors. The Devourers, faced with an enemy they couldn't intimidate, couldn't drain, and couldn't understand, began to retreat from the system. But Admiral Rodriguez wasn't finished with them. Fleet command to all vessels. The Devourers are attempting to withdraw. Do not let them escape. These parasites have murdered entire civilizations. They end here. The final battle was swift and decisive. The Devourer vessels, designed for harvesting helpless victims, were no match for human warships built for combat. Dr. Kim's biological EMP weapons paralyzed their nervous systems, while conventional weapons destroyed their ability to feed on life energy. In the end, Not a single Devourer ship escaped the system. Queen Zixara stood on the bridge of the Defiance as her homeworld slowly began to heal. The crystal forests were regrowing, their harmonic frequencies returning as the surviving Valfani emerged from their underground shelters. "Why did you help us?" she asked Admiral Rodriguez. "You risked everything to save people you had never met. Your species could have ignored our distress call and remained safely hidden in your own system." Admiral Rodriguez looked out at the recovering world below. "Because that's who we are. Humans don't walk away when innocent people are suffering. We couldn't live with ourselves knowing we had the power to help, but chose not to use it." Dr. Kim was coordinating with Valthani scientists to share medical and technological knowledge. The two species, so different in biology, but so similar in their values, found they had much to offer each other. Tom Walsh was helping to rebuild the planet's crystal infrastructure, marveling at the elegant harmony of Valthani engineering. "You folks built something beautiful here," he told the alien engineers. "We'll help you make it even better than before." The recovery took months, but humanity stayed to help. Refugee camps became permanent settlements as humans and Valthani worked side by side to rebuild civilization. The crystal world began to sing again as new growth reached toward the stars. But the most important change was happening across the galaxy. Word of humanity's intervention spread among the surviving civilizations that the Devourers had terrorized. Species that had hidden in fear for millennia began to reach out, knowing that somewhere among the stars there were beings willing to fight for justice. A year after the battle, Elena Vasquez sat at her communication station aboard the New Deep, space monitoring station Harmony, built in orbit around Velthan Prime. Her screens showed incoming messages from dozens of civilizations across the galaxy. Some were requests for help against oppressors. Others were offers of alliance and friendship. All of them carried the same message. The galaxy had found its protectors. Commander Chun, now promoted to Admiral and Commander of the Joint Human Valthani Defense Fleet, joined her at the communication center. "What's the word from Earth?" "The United Earth Council has approved the Galactic Protection Initiative," Elena reported. "We're officially the galaxy's peacekeeping force now. 50 new ships are being built, and we have volunteers from 18 different species ready to serve." Queen Zixara, now bearing the title Guardian Queen of the Alliance, entered the communication center. Her crystal body had healed and now glowed with renewed strength. "The Valthani Council has voted to share our quantum consciousness technology with all Alliance members. If we're going to protect the galaxy together, we should be able to communicate instantly across any distance." Admiral Chun nodded approvingly. "With human military technology, Valthani quantum communication, and the knowledge of our other allies, we'll be able to respond to threats anywhere in the galaxy within days instead of months." As they spoke, Captain Santos returned from a mission to the Rigel system, where her squadron had successfully stopped a group of pirates from enslaving a colony of peaceful traders. The former fighter pilot was now commander of the Alliance Rapid Response Force. "Admiral, the Rigel situation is resolved. The colonists send their thanks." She paused, a slight smile on her face. "Sir, we received an interesting communication during our journey back. There's a young civilization in the Andromeda Galaxy that's developed long-range communication. They heard about the Alliance and want to establish contact." "Andromeda?" Dr. Kim looked up from her research station. "That's 2.5 million light-years away. If they can reach us across that distance, their technology must be remarkable." Tom Walsh grinned from his engineering station. "Sounds like we're going to need bigger ships, Admiral." Admiral Rodriguez, now Fleet Admiral of all Alliance forces, joined the gathering. "The galaxy is a big place, and we're finding that it's full of good people who just needed someone to stand up to the bullies. Every world we protect, Every civilization we save makes us all stronger. Elena looked at the communication display, showing dozens of peaceful species now working together under human leadership. Admiral, do you ever think about what would have happened if we hadn't heard the Valfani distress call? Every day, Rodriguez replied quietly. But we did hear it, and we answered it. That's what matters. Queen Zixara began to sing, her crystalline voice creating harmonics that resonated throughout the station. Other species joined in, each adding their own unique sounds to create a symphony of hope that echoed across the stars. The galaxy had found its guardians, and the age of universal peace was beginning. Humanity had answered the call of strangers in need, and in doing so, had become something greater than they ever imagined possible. The echo of that first desperate distress call had become a roar of defiance against all who would prey upon the innocent. And across the galaxy, in languages both spoken and sung, the same message spread from world to world. The humans are coming, and they fight for everyone. Asterisk.